Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Coral. I talk about books here. Today I'm doing a video about some of the series that I own and haven't finished. So these do not count series that I own that I haven't started. These don't count series where I'm caught up. These don't count series where I've read like 2 books and maybe there are more out but I haven't bought them yet. These don't count series that I've read and decided not to finish. There are some of those too, so there are a lot of series here. Oh, these also don't count ones that I'm currently reading. These are series that I've read and waited for so long to read more of that I start to forget things. It's ridiculous, it's a problem. I need to show you how much of a problem this is. I didn't even count how many there are. Probably more than 10 here. And that's not counting any of the other, like I said, these don't count. I just have so many series. I don't need to reiterate that for you, you know. Okay, so the first series that I've read some of and completely just lost track. The first one I'd like to talk about is Papercuts by Clive Barker. And in fact, I often forget when I'm talking about Clive Barker, I'm like, oh yeah, I've only read Cabal, I think. But I've read Papercuts too, and that's a Clive Barker book. I've read 3 of his books now because I just read The Hellbound Heart. The Papercuts books are his like more fantasy, maybe young adult series. And I read this one, Papercuts, when I was pregnant with my daughter. So that was like 6-7 years ago now. And I liked it. And I'm not sure why I didn't continue, which is something you will hear over and over again here. I have a problem. The second one here, I'm not sure what the title of this series is, if it has one, but the first book was The Dry by Jane Harper. The second one is Force of Nature. And I believe there's a third one out even now. I read The Dry. I thought it was kind of dry until the last couple parts, the last couple, maybe 50 pages. I've heard people say Force of Nature is better. And also the premise of Force of Nature, the premise of Force of Nature sounded more interesting to me than The Dry did. So I'm hoping that I like Force of Nature more, but I still haven't picked it up for some reason. I don't even know when I read The Dry. It's been probably a year. The next series is The Raven Cycle. I have not finished The Raven Cycle. I've only read The Raven Boys, which again, I liked. I don't know why I don't know why I didn't continue on with the series. I'm missing the 4th book here, so that's 3 I haven't read. And it's been so long now that I think my library offers the audiobook version of The Raven Boys, but I have to reread it or listen to it as an audiobook because I do not remember. I don't even remember anyone besides Blue, Gansey, and Ronan and Noah. Is there more? I don't even know if there's there might be more guys in that group. But that's how little I remember about it. It's been so long. Next, I have Legend by Marie Lu. Read Legend. I think I read it in a day. It's easy, just kind of like intense, not like horror intense. This is more of like a dystopian or sci-fi book, but I finished it really quick. It was good. And then I just never moved on to oh my god, my cats, I'm sorry. Then I just never moved on to Prodigy. Don't know why, can't tell you, don't ask. Another series I've started but haven't finished is the Area X books by Jeff Vandermeer. I read Annihilation probably about a year ago and I didn't really like it. So I haven't been super motivated to read the other books. These are in the wrong order. Also, I've heard people say that they didn't like book 2 as much as book 1, and then I'm like, well, I didn't really like book 1, so I don't know. I'm not ready to get rid of this and give up on it yet, but I honestly have no idea when I'm going to read this. I don't see it happening in the foreseeable future. Oh, another series right here. This is a fantasy series I have not finished, and it's the Darker Shades of Magic series by V.E. Schwab. I read A Darker Shade of Magic, and I thought it was just okay. I liked the friendship that the characters had in this book, but besides that, like, I wasn't super... Again, I was not very motivated to pick up the second book. So I haven't. It just sits on my shelf. I don't know why. Another fantasy series I've started and not finished is the King Slayer Chronicles, I think, by Patrick Rothfuss. I have the second book on my shelf still. I just don't know why I didn't grab it. But the second one, Wise Man's Fear. This one I kind of have a reason for not reading, because this is supposed to be a trilogy, so there's supposed to be 3 books in the series. The first and the second books have come out, and it's been a good amount of years since the second book, and there's no sign of the third book coming out in sight. So I already know that I'm probably gonna have to reread this when I read for when I want to read the second book. So I don't want to put myself in a situation where I reread this to read the second book, and then I have to wait so long for book 3 that I have to reread books 1 and 2. So I'm putting this on hold. I really like this book. I like this book a lot. So we're just playing the waiting game, Patrick. I'm not gonna give you shit because I see that you get a ton of that on the internet, and I'm not like those people. But I would really like to read the third book at some point. I'd like to read the second book so I can read the third book, but I can't read the third book, or I can't read the second book until the third book comes out, or at least has like a publishing date or something. This is another fantasy series. This one is definitely young adult. This is Falling Kingdoms by Morgan Rhodes. Yes. This is just a really straight up like medieval timesy fantasy series. There's like some magic, and really honestly the first book I remember, like, I can't remember what the characters are called. I can't remember, but I remember there's like what am I trying to say here? I don't remember the characters' names, but I remember like the I can remember kind of like what their motivations in the book are a little bit, if that makes sense. Like, I remember the spot that they fit in the story. I cannot articulate what I'm trying to fucking say. But I felt, okay, so I remember some of that. But also, I feel like I'm remembering things from some other YA series that I haven't continued with. And so I can't remember which parts are from other books that I didn't like and which parts are from this first book. So I'll definitely have to read the first one again if I ever continue on with the series, which I've heard is good, but I was not impressed that much with the first book. It felt very reminiscent of Game of Thrones. There's even a character named Theon in this, which is just like a little too on the nose for me. Like, there's no other Theons in books except for, you know, George R.R. Martin's Theon Greyjoy. So it's not like naming a character Arya. There's other Aryas in pop culture and in the media and in books and TV shows and movies, but Theon is just, for some reason that bothered me. Maybe I will continue on with this one at some point. I just don't know when, especially because this year I'm trying really hard to finish any series I start. I'm not necessarily marathoning them, like reading them back to back to back, because I can't do that. I get too antsy and need to move on to other things. So usually I'll read like one book from a series in a month. So like when I read the Red Rising series earlier this year, I just spent 3 months reading it. Like I read one book from that series each month, along with the other things I was reading. And you know what? I think that worked out perfectly for me because I could remember what I read, but I wasn't stuck in one story for too long. I just get too antsy. I don't know why, because I like the series and I like book series. I don't know. Need a change in pace once in a while or I get too freaky. Another great thing about this chair and filming in this chair is that my cats want to come bother me and sit on my lap. This is Salem. He's old and grumpy. Okay, what's next? Oh, another big one. This one I'm including because I'm not technically currently reading, but I do plan on getting back to Game of Thrones soon. I only have the 5th book left to read, so I'm doing pretty good with this one. I just read the 4th book this year, just a couple months ago, so this one I will get to soon. I don't know, I am anxious about it with how this series is ending. Okay, I also have a series here that I've really honestly debated about unhauling at some point because I really don't see myself ever reading Graceling. The Graceling series, I don't know. These are really more like companion books, which is kind of why I've kept them around, because I know I won't have to reread the first book, Graceling, in order to read the other ones again. But I feel like this might be, at this point in my life, I just am not in love with young adult books that feel too young, if you know what I mean. And I think Graceling, when I read it, it was like when I first picked up YA again, and I was like, how old was I? Like 23. It was a couple years ago, because I didn't read YA at all. And I liked this book then, but now, having read better young adult, and not that this was bad, but this was written quite a while ago, a few years ago, you know, and I feel like the tone in YA has definitely changed from then. Then, when this was written, I think YA was geared toward a younger audience, kind of. I don't know. I thought that the character in this was super kick-ass. She was very much like her own independent-ass woman, you know what I mean? And I appreciated that, but I just don't know if I'm interested in hearing any more from, I don't think it'll be from her, because like I said, they're companion novels, but I'm not really interested in that world. Another one here. Oh, Crooked Kingdom, Six of Crows. I should unhaul these, except for that they're such beautiful books. They have sprayed edges. They're gorgeous, but I didn't like Six of Crows. I didn't like it. I thought it was too long and I thought it was boring, and the characters were like kind of cool, but like it took me like 2 weeks to read this book, which is crazy. I mean, this is only maybe 500 pages, just about. No, not even. It's like 450. That's too long for me to sit on a 450 page book. 2 weeks? That's fucking nuts. I'm just not curious what these characters get up to next. I don't really care. I don't really care. I liked the Grocer trilogy more, and that's another one that I wasn't totally in love with, so. Okay, I didn't grab the whole dang series, but I also haven't finished all of Anne Rice's Vampire Chronicles. I've read the first 3 books more than once. I've read this one more times than that even. I really love what I've read in the Vampire Chronicles. When I read these is like when Twilight started coming out, and I was like, oh my god, I cannot be associated with vampires anymore because it's Twilight and they're so fucking boring. So I kind of became maybe disenchanted with vampire stuff, and that's why I never continued on with the series when I was really interested in it. But I really would like to read this again and read the second and third books again and finish the series finally. Someday. I also own some of the Ring series by Koji Suzuki. I've read The Ring, I liked it, I thought it was pretty good, but I haven't read Spiral. So here this sits on my shelf. I also have S, which I'm pretty sure is also part of the Ring series, but that's like maybe the fourth book or the fifth book in this series, and I don't have, obviously I just have these two except for that one, so I can't even read that one, even if I did read this one at some point. I don't know why I'm telling you that. We're getting down to the last few, okay? Another one I haven't finished is the Dark Tower series. This isn't even all of them. I don't own all of them yet, but I read The Gunslinger 3 times, maybe 4 times. I've read The Drawing of the Three now twice. I actually just finished that a week or two ago. Still fucking loved it. Still didn't fucking like The Gunslinger. So I'm doing a journey to the Dark Tower. So I will get to these. It might not be this year. I'm not sure when they come up on my list, but I am going to read them. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it this time. Another series I have started and have not finished. I don't know if this series has a name. The first one was Anti-Darken. This is by Kirsten White. This is a historical fiction about Lada. What's their family name? Oh, it's just Dracul. I thought it was that, but I was like, that's just 2 on the nose, right? But Lada Dracul. And I think this is like a gender bender kind of thing about Vlad the Impaler. However, I'm not sure because, like I said, I've only read the first book so far, and we obviously have not gotten to that point yet. But I think Lada, is going to end up being Vlad the Impaler, I think. I really liked this first book when I read it. I really liked it a lot. I was blown away by this book. I don't read a ton of historical fiction. This might be my favorite historical fiction that I've ever read. Not that that's saying much because, like I said, I don't read it that often. So I read Anti-Darken when it first came out. So I had a while until Now I Rise was published. And I waited for that. I bought it right when it was published. I was like, I'm gonna get to this, and then I just didn't. I don't know. Why am I like this? Okay. The last series on this list here is one I am also very ashamed about. And that is, the Bone Season series by Samantha Shannon. I read the Bone Season, I really liked it. I had the mime order and I didn't ever pick it up. And then the third book came out. They changed cover art to something that it looks nice, but like I already had these two and I really love the designs on these. Not only do they have super fucking cool covers, they have cool spines, but they also have these designs on the naked book. So I was like, also I don't want to really have mismatchy series like that. So when the third book came out, The Song Rising, they were offering a limited amount of these hardcovers stylized like the first two were. So I bought it because I was like, I'm gonna read the mime order by the time this came out and it was signed and I was so excited about it, and then I never read it. I never read the Lime Order, and now I'm to the point where like I'd have to read the Bone season over again. Shame on me. What is going on with me? What's wrong with my life? That's it. I would have to make like a 2-hour long video if I wanted to show you other series that I own and haven't started, or series, I'm sorry, I just yawned, so if it looks like I'm crying, I promise I'm not. I just keep yawning. I don't know what I was saying. Anyways, that's the end of my video. That's all I have for you. Thanks for watching though. Let me know if you have read any of these series, and like let me know if you think Authority was better than Annihilation, or if the Falling Kingdom series gets better. Please let me know, because I am totally up to prioritizing those series if I think they might be more interesting. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, you guys. I have some links down to my book-related social media in the description if you care to follow me. Don't worry about it if you don't. I'm not gonna be upset. Leave me a comment, like I said. Let me know if you've read any of these series and you loved them, or if you read any and you don't think they're worth continuing. Let me know. Thank you so much for watching, you guys, and I will see you later.